Hello everybody and welcome back. Lovely that you could join me. Tonight we go to Essex, Romford area, and it's the large hunched figures and red eyes in the night, 1980s. The Romford red-eyed creature. Hi Deborah. I just stumbled across your YouTube channel and I've been listening to some of the accounts you have shared, and it made me realise I too have experienced what I think may be some of the cryptid creatures we have here in the UK. I live in Essex and I love being out in nature. In fact, my whole life to date has been entwined with Mother Earth and the Green Man and our early beliefs here in the UK. I have seen some strange stuff out there over the years when out in the woods and fields. Now, the government tells us that there are no large cats out there, and yet people report them constantly, which tells me that cats are definitely out there and being seen. When you witness something you're not supposed to be seeing, and you're still told they do not exist, it opens your mind up to what else may be roaming around out there. I've seen one of the large cats near the M11 motorway in the daylight, and I have had a couple of unusual nighttime experiences by the river in Harlow, but I will explain those at another time for now. Now, I just want to share some things that happened to me in the hope that you or your friends can shed some light on what happened to me and my friends back then. There is an area around Lambourn End and Abridge, and it's still very rural, but it was even quieter 30 years back when I was a young teenager. There wasn't a lot to do at night and on the weekends, so we'd meet up and go out for drives on whatever vehicle you could get hold of, obviously parents permitting. We used to go out for a drive, and we'd drive around looking for your friends or just wasting hours around the lanes and back again, and we'd do this quite a bit. One night I was on the back of my mate's motorbike, and we were coming back down Hole Lane from Abridge towards Lambourn End. He was a safe rider and was taking his time, especially with me on pillion. He leaned back at one point and said to me, "Did you see that?" I replied, "No, I haven't seen anything." And he asked what he'd spotted. I was expecting him to say some usual animal, and we quite often see foxes and such like when we're out, and I expected him to have just seen something like that. Instead of answering, he said, "Hang on," started the bike up and opened it up. Now, he was really speeding down the lane, which was totally unusual for him. We didn't slow down until we got to my house. I was a bit surprised, and I asked him what on earth was going on. He said he'd seen something big and very black, just a huge dark lump with bright eyes that reflected in the headlight from the bike. It was on the field edge to our left. He said as we got close, it changed stance and dropped down, kind of to the edge of the road, but it kept itself hidden behind the hedge. He could still see its eyes, and it was that and the size of this thing that had stood out to him the most. He said it was huge, and what bothered him more than anything was that it moved towards us and not away from us, and that's why he sped up on the bike. We never did find out what it was that he'd seen, but I still remember everything about that night and how worried and shook up my friend was. Now, a few years later, that night came up in conversation with another friend, and he told me about a night he had when he was out in his Mini, which was fitted with really bright spotlights on the front of the car, and it was kitted out with headlights on the whole lot. He was driving up the same lane towards Abridge, and he explained something huge and darker than the night crossed the road ahead of him. He couldn't make it out clearly, and his lights didn't quite reach the figure to illuminate it, but as he drove past the spot it was standing, he saw eyes looking at him in the hedge. Strangely, and to add to this mystery, this thing was seen again. It was around the same time, and another group of friends was staying in a nearby field they had camped in, and they were using a few buses to camp in just off Huck Lane. They said one night when it was dark and they were getting ready to turn in for the night, they all heard a massive skidding of brakes and thought a car had crashed in the lane. So they rushed out and went down the lane to look. They reached the area just as a car screeched off. In the car lights, silhouetted, standing by the field gate, was what they described as a huge black shape that was as wide as two blokes put together and about 7 feet tall. I found it interesting that 3 local folk that I knew had experiences down there, and I wonder how many others have too. Funnily enough, I'm 50 now, and I still don't like driving down Hull Lane. I go the long way round every time. Now, a local paper also reported in 2008 that Irene Dainty encountered a 4-foot hairy creature with large feet and animal-like eyes close to her home. The creature ran off and jumped over the wall of the nearby 3 Jolly Wheelers public house. Irene said, "I'd just come out of my flat and just as I turned the corner, I saw this hairy thing come out of nowhere. I really didn't want to see it again. It was about 4 feet tall, with really big feet, and it looked straight at me with animal eyes. Then it leapt straight over the wall with no trouble at all, and went off into the garden of the 3 Jolly Wheelers pub. I was so terrified that I went to my neighbour's house and told her what had happened." It was about 3 p.m. So, this area is very close to numerous bear accounts made by people who claim to have witnessed bear-like creatures walking upright on 2 legs. Could these bear accounts be mistaken Bigfoot accounts, or vice versa? Or are there a number of cryptid-type creatures running around and being reported by the public to the authorities? Have you seen anything like that in the area, or anything like that anywhere in the UK, or experienced anything that's strange? If you have, get hold of me in the comments below, or drop me a line at debbiehatswell@gmail.com. So until next time, thank you all very much for joining me. Good night.